Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Strain coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And I'm going vegetarian with this one. This is a menu that I had not yet tried, so it'll probably take me a while to get through all of the current menu lineup of the US MREs, 24 of them. There's a lathe and a house thanks for dropping in. Of course, some of them I will not eat because they contain pork, so I'll let someone else go for those. But ones like this, which are a good option for not only vegetarians, but if a person who does not eat pork for religious or other reasons may be given one of these if the kosher ones or the halal ones are not an option, not available. There's Pete in the house dropping in. I got this from foreignmre.com. The sticker is kind of half on there. I'll go ahead and take that off. Stuck it on my original sticker board where there's a tiny white space. I just fill those up with those foreign MRE stickers. This is packed by AmeriQual. And this one has the date code. Doesn't like to focus on stuff like this, but it's 8153. There is Puppy Breath in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So, 153rd day of 2018. I have water on the stove, getting up to a boil. Peelable seal. Sometimes these work, sometimes these don't. And it looks like I'm going to poke my thumbnail right through the bag. So I will take care of that problem. I'm just going to get the cheaters out. Wasn't a straight cut, but I can deal with that. Typical of AmeriQual, you get the double wrap. This is the same double wrap that is now used for all of the halal MREs. So this one can be torn open. So right off the top, we got the main. So it's, and this is one of those, it's two different colors. It's this lighter green, and then it's this darker shade. And then there's a sleeve for it, the vegetarian taco pasta, vegetable crumbles with pasta in taco style sauce. Their long list of ingredients and the nutrition stuff. This thing does not want to focus. So I'll put that aside. Then we got mixed fruit. So fruit cocktail basically. And it has the nutrition and ingredients list right on the pouch itself instead of on a separate card. Got the accessory pack. Got a full-size cran raspberry first strike bar. There's Southern Ohio Prepping, Angry Blacksmith in the house. Thanks for dropping in. The best flavor of the First Strike bars. My favorite nut, cashews. But very few of them. Jalapeno flavored cashews. Yeah, that's my favorite nut. Chunky peanut butter. Wow. This is the first time I've ever opened up a ration and gotten chunky peanut butter. Got crackers, which are a bit bent, so you know these are going to break when I open them. French vanilla cappuccino, hence no coffee in the accessory pack. Got a spoon, which I do not use because I got my foreign MRE Sport. Chili lime hot sauce. This is the first time I've seen a hot sauce in this type of packaging. Usually it just says hot sauce in big letters. Got the FRH flameless ration heater. Which I also most of the time do not use because I figure I'm in my apartment. I don't need to use it, so I save them as part of my emergency stash. I'm going to open up the accessory kit to see what is in here. Got beverage base powder raspberry. I don't think I've had this one, but this one feels was a bit kind of tight there, but I think it'll be good. So that'll go into the drinking jar. Got a wet wipe, the rear roll, and salt, and the cinnamon gum. And I'm using the MRE bag as my trash bag. So I set all those aside. And the hot sauce will go to the side as well. This only calls for 6 ounces of water, but there's a fill line, but I'm going to go ahead and mix this in the mug. And tonight I have the mug that I got from Will over at GIT Preparedness Info. I've showed that mug several times before, but I just it out again tonight. This is what the powder looks like. I'm checking the chat. So the Impossible, I'm not so sure about those. I put the raspberry drink powder into my drinking jar. You can see how kind of a purplish red that looks. So this is really, really dark. Oops, I'm not quite in view, so I'll fix that. Chicago is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Put that back there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the pot to boil because I want to make sure that this is cooked all the way. Oh, I just noticed the tear notches on this one go like this, and there are two of them. And the one is way down here. Of course, it'll be lower. This tear notch will be lower than level of food, so I would rather go for this one. But anyway, I am going to go put this in boiling water, and then I'll get the water for the cappuccino, and I'll be right back. This is what it looks like with 6 ounces of water. And then the design just reveals up to here, and then the rest is kind of turning black purple. course, I kind of wish the design was on this side because, you know, after all, I drink right-handed. Now, the fruit cocktail has the tear notch that goes across this way, but I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to cut it across this way. I think some of the fruiting here kind of took a bit of a beating. Oops, sorry about that. I think I need to adjust this position, so there we go, that's better. Instead of using this peanut butter on the crackers, I'm going to do something a little different with this. I'm actually going to break the crackers up since they're going to bust anyway and lay them down and put the pasta on top. So I'm going to open up the first strike bar. Well, it didn't rip all the way, but I can deal with that. Here's a tear notch for the cashews. I'm going to rip it over. It looks like the tear notch on this, they didn't match up. Let's see if I can get a hiss out of this. No hiss out of the cashews. But they are definitely vacuum sealed. So there are the cashews. I'm going to go ahead and open up the crackers, see if we can get a hiss out of that. There's a little hiss. There, I think that should be a good base for the pasta to go on. In fact, I'm going to go get it because it should be thoroughly heated by now. I'll be right back. I am back. Got a paper towel to dry it off. I see Wyoming in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I shake the food down below the tear notch. I'm done with that. Get that out of the way. The tear notch is right here, so I'll use a top one. That one doesn't want to pull, so I'll go the other side. And there you go. So there is a close-up of the pasta. It looks kind of like that mini lasagna type of thing. And this would be the fake meat, the TVP. No, that was a tomato. Actually get big chunks of tomato in here. And it's got beans. I would say the small red bean, that's kind of like a kidney bean. Beans are still firm. Get it with a piece of the cracker. Oh, sorry, I bumped the phone mount again. Putting it on top of the cracker definitely helps. Gives it some crunch. A bit of the tomato landed on my cashews, but that's okay. I'm going to take a taste of this cappuccino. That's very sweet. It's definitely vanilla. So I do get that. It's actually not bad, but I would actually like to taste more of the coffee. But it's still a decent cappuccino. I've had better, of course, I'm sure we all have. I don't think it needs the spicy sauce, so there is Mike in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So for those that have joined in late, this is a 2018 US MRE menu 11 vegetable crumbles with pasta in taco style sauce. And I put it on top of the crumbled crackers. The cashews are jalapeno flavored. This is a cashew that got a bit of the sauce on it. But I do taste the jalapeno on it. They're very creamy. So they don't have a whole lot of crunch to them. I'm going to take a taste of the raspberry drink. It's actually not too bad. Usually those little stick drinks call for 20 of water, or maybe like a half liter. That would be 16.5 ounces. But since this drinking jar holds no more than 13 ounces, I don't even have the full. I got a little bit left in this bottle. I might as well just go ahead and pour it in there. So 13.7 is the actual capacity of this bottle. And I just keep reusing it. I like keeping different bottles of water in my fridge, so I can have different sizes, just for whatever purpose. Looks like I have something like a pepper on there. A green bell pepper. The fake meat or the TVP is very, very fine. It's actually hard to pick it out. But the tomatoes are definitely there. See, that right there looks like it might be a bit of that that meat substitute. But this is actually not too bad. For a vegetarian main, this is actually pretty good. What would improve it would be some cheese spread with jalapenos. I think that would really kick it up a notch. But since I have the jalapeno cashews, I might drop a few of the pieces in. Just for the heck of it. See what that does. I actually picked up a bit of the jalapeno from the cashew, even through all the sauce and the other stuff that's in here. I see Chris in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Oh yeah, Fun Dip was very popular, and we used to make a real mess of it. In fact, when it first came out, we had to be supervised when we ate it because we were so messy with it. I went back for the cappuccino. This fruit cocktail, as you can tell, the fruit looks like it took a real beating. And I got one little piece of cherry. It still tastes good, but it's still very soft. The pears, even are very soft. They don't have the firm texture. The peaches are almost crushed. Oh, there's another tiny bit of cherry. But that's it. The fruit is starting to look, I mean, it's not looking dark. It just looked like it's been crushed. But it still tastes good. Now, this is a cran raspberry first strike bar. You can see the Rice Krispies in there. No doubt this has that food dye. I don't think there will be enough actual cranberry juice or raspberry juice on their own to make it this red. And of course, this is probably loaded with food coloring too. But it's not too sweet, even though I made it stronger than it's supposed to be. It's got that tart raspberry flavor. These stick drinks are usually made with an artificial sweetener, and I usually try to stay away from those. Now the crackers totally absorbed this sauce. But it's still good. I'm definitely going to be finishing this off. And next week I'll go back to a meat one, because that will be an MCW. I'm looking forward to that one. That's the Oriental rice and chicken. I'm definitely looking forward to that because I've been wanting to try that particular menu, and now I got it. I got it also from Foreign MRE. And speaking of them, Foreign MRE is sending out a first strike ration that Art opened up on camera. So instead of eating it, because he hates tuna, he just handed it off to Nina, and Nina picked the winner from comments on a previous video. And so that will be sent off. So that viewer will get to eat it instead of Art. There is Kathleen in the house, and Sunshine's Side of Life 77 in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Kathleen is a new viewer. I've never seen her name before, so welcome to my regular Sunday night dinner. 2018 US MRE menu 11. One of the vegetarian options. For those that either have to avoid meat for whatever reason, or the only other option that would be available wherever they're located would be one that contains pork. And if they don't eat pork like me for religious or other reasons, and if a halal MRE is not available, then they would be given a vegetarian one. Or sometimes a soldier out in the field would just be randomly handed one of these. And I'm sure they probably, those have eaten this one in the past has probably done what I did and put the pasta on top of the crackers. Or maybe threw some of the cashews in. So I hope you enjoy this. I do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. Having another drink of the cappuccino. The mug has gone totally black by now because it's cooled off. So it'll be 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Left Coast Time, 4 p.m. Alaska Time. Though I don't think I have anybody in here who is from Alaska. I don't know what time it would be in Hawaii. I think that might be another time zone back. I am subscribed to a YouTuber from Hawaii. His channel name is Hawaii Volcano Squad, but I just don't bother to ask him what the time is where he's at, because usually just talking about other stuff when he's live. Yeah, that cherry flavor was definitely different than the real thing. Even different than the maraschino cherries that come in that red syrup. But for a long time, I haven't even sought out fun dips. I just totally, I guess I got too adult for those. I don't know. Yeah, some of them are really, really bad. Some of the fake grape flavorings and certain things are just as bad too. Although I would like to get a fun dip and actually do an experiment with it. I would take the powders, mix them with water, and see how they come out as a drink. You can still find those little bottles that look like miniature baby bottles, and you do the same thing with them. You separate them, the powder inside the bottle. You take that piece of hard candy that looks like the nipple of a baby bottle, and you dip it in that powder. You lick it first to get it, to moisten it, and then you dip it in the powder and lick that. So that's kind of like a fun dip, but you only get the one flavor. There's DIY dark matter in the house. He does wood crafting. He carves. And he makes some very unique stuff. So if you want to see something like that, go check out his videos. Well, that's okay, you know, if life gets in the way, you know, that's the way it goes. I would do the same thing with pixie sticks. I would take the powder, mix it with water, and see how it comes out as a drink. I would experiment with that. Well, that'll take care of the cashews. Got a good amount of that jalapeno seasoning that was on them. All I got left is my fruit and my first strike bar. Nope, I'm not old enough for that that whiskey. I'm only 55. One of my sisters years ago tried making a cough medicine with whiskey and nutmeg. She hated the taste of it. But she wanted to see if it would take care of her cough. Sometimes those home remedies that you drink may not taste good, but if you do them right and you use a correct one for what you're trying to deal with, you know, hopefully it works. Crazy, Aletha? I'd say you're crazy like a fox. Now, some people just don't drink, not necessarily for religious reasons, but you know, certain alcohols may just actually bother them. And my sister, who tried to make that whiskey and nutmeg mixture, she would rather drink alcohols that have no flavor, like a straight tequila or vodka. and then make a cocktail out of it. She just doesn't like whiskey. But my other sisters will drink it. My brother prefers beer. Well, my sisters will drink beer, but they do like to mix that up once in a while. And I'm down to my first strike bar. Old Smoky loves these things. He likes to keep a good supply of them at home. That's okay. Oh, Chris just dropped a link. So the Fun Dip, you can buy it on Amazon. So if you can't find it locally and you want to mess with it, there you go. So have a good night, Rachel. I hope you can get some good rest. You've been through a lot lately. I know that we got your back. Hopefully things will get better. You know, in the week to come. In case you don't know, she had to send a very beloved family member off. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the Kool-Aid was always unsweetened in those little packets that you can still buy in the store. Those little packets you still have to add the sugar to, or another sweetener of your choice. I suppose if you wanted to go ahead and, mix up the Kool-Aid powder with sugar and then save that until you're ready to actually put it in water. This one was actually not too bad. I couldn't really get any texture from the veggie crumbles because it was so fine. It was so finely mixed into the sauce that I really couldn't pick it out. But I did pick up the other flavors. It was nice to have bits of tomato, and I had one bit of green bell pepper. And the beans are nice and firm. The pasta itself was very, very soft, but that's to expected when you got little bits of pasta like that that sit in a retort for a few years. But putting it on the crackers added a little crunch and texture to it. And then I threw in a few bits of the jalapeno cashews, and I could pick up the jalapeno through that sauce. I haven't had pixie sticks in a coon's age. Yep, Jolly Ranchers are good too. I just don't get them that often. You know, I don't buy a whole lot of candy. Usually when I do, it's chocolate. Or I buy the candies that are not prone to melting, like the mint lifesavers, and now they have an orange lifesaver, but it looks like the mint lifesavers in color. They're white. They're not like the Lifesavers fruity ones, which are like a Jolly Rancher, but in a ring form. I buy those kinds of candies to store. So all those little packs of Smarties that I've gotten from Minotaur Trading Company rations, I store those as well. They're part of my food preps because I can use them as barter items, especially if an SHTF situation and there are kids around that are in serious need of a pick-me-up. Give them a packet of those Smarties, and that might boost their spirits a little bit. Well, that's okay. You're not the only one, Rachel, because there are people who say every time they watch one of my streams, they get hungry, and they just want to go find some food. Oh, that would be awesome. Wow, look who it is. A Booger Butt and Booger Butt in the house. So, if you either message me on if you go to my About page, if you go to the About tab on my channel homepage, you scroll to the bottom and you'll see where to send it. Or if for some reason it doesn't show up, you can, if you're not friends with me on Facebook, hit me up on Facebook. Okay, yeah, if you want to message me on Facebook, you can go ahead and do that as well. But speaking of packages, earlier this afternoon in the Ration Museum stream, Sean was showing some of the long range patrol, or no, food packet survival, I think. I don't know, one of those. But I commented in the chat that I had not yet been able, tried one of those. So since he said he had a duplicate of one, he's just going to send it to me. Oh, Robert is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So it'll be awesome to get to try one of those. Oh, yes. The company that makes Spam does a turkey Spam. And then I get halal versions that are made by a couple of different companies. One called Ziyad, Z-I-Y-A-D. And the other one is called Swan, S-W-A-N. And they make them out of beef, turkey, and chicken. Well, Spam also comes in bacon flavor too. So Alaska Prepper has done reviews on the different flavors of Spam, and someone had even sent him a spicy one to try. So if you want reviews on Spam, you can find them not only from Alaska Prepper, but other people have reviewed Spam, I'm sure. According to Alaska Prepper, the bacon Spam didn't taste or, too much different than the regular Spam, and the texture was almost the same. So that one really didn't impress him a whole lot. But what he does when he does it, he actually slices it and then fries it instead of he'll taste a little bit of it, but then he'll fry it because he prefers his Spam fried. Yeah, there is a barbecue one. I think he reviewed that one as well. Well, maybe you have to slip him the. I think they're supposed, but there's a less sodium, a reduced sodium Spam. But I don't think that would change much as far as the fat content. Well, there's one way to handle that. course, a popular thing at my paternal grandmother's house was fried bologna. Yeah, spam is seriously big in Hawaii. In fact, they probably have some versions that are only sold there, not in any other state. Yeah, the old, the cans with just the black printing on the side. Yeah, there's pork, beef, and chicken were the 3 canned meats that were offered. So, yeah, I remember all that stuff. There was so much fat in there, but sometimes you would have to keep that fat and then use it to cook something else. Yeah, we got all those when I was a kid too, because that was how, at least where I was at, that's how we got some of the food assistance back in the 70s. Aletha, you got the canned meats in the silver cans with the black writing? Yeah. Oh, okay. So they must have changed the labeling. I have not seen anything like that in a long time. Except when I was working as a home health aide and I was going into apartment buildings to see my clients, people would get those, they just call them the monthly commodities because they're not branded foods. They're packaged specifically for food assistance distribution. And you get the canned juices with the generic label. You get the canned meats with the generic label. You get the instant milk powder, instant egg powder with generic labels. You get dried fruits with the generic label, all that stuff. So what people in a couple of these buildings used to do, actually in 3 buildings I used to go into, what people would do, if there was an item that they didn't want for whatever reason, they would put it in a common area, like an elevator lobby. There would be a table, and then someone else can go take it. Well, on occasion, I would nip. Because I carried a bag full of my supplies that not only was I required to have in order to do my job, but extra medical supplies that I just chose to put in there just to augment what I was required to carry. I would get a box of gloves from the agency, and I'll get some other things from the agency, but I would add my own extra stuff. I always carried baby wipes. So, because those items were free for the taking, I used to occasionally nip, and I would stick an item or two in my bag and just go on about my business. Oh, Pete, you can get egg powder from the long-term food storage companies, or Alaska Prepper reviewed an egg powder that he has found in Costco. But whether that particular brand is still there, I don't know. But if you have a Costco membership, you might be able to find it there. But companies like Augustin Farms, Thrive, Legacy Foods, some of the others have the egg powder, and you get that in two forms, either the whole egg powder or the scrambled egg mix, which has other ingredients in it. Now you can get the egg powder on Amazon also from different brands. The egg replacer would be like, say, egg beaters. That's an egg substitute, just in liquid form. But if you look on Amazon, you can find different brands of the egg powders, either in bags or cans or pouches. So I have a pouch of Legacy egg powder, the whole egg powder, and I have a can of Thrive egg powder, and then I have Augustin Farms egg powder, both the whole egg and the scrambled egg mix. You can get the egg replacement powder or liquid form, so you got a couple of different options with that stuff. Dad on YouTube, first time seeing you in here. Thanks for dropping in. And to Carlos Perry in the house. I hope you're feeling okay, brother. You've been going through some issues. So, I am down to my raspberry drink. But if you want to go back and watch from the beginning, this is a 2018 US MRE, menu 11, vegetarian option, vegetable crumbles with pasta and taco style sauce. This is packed by MRE. That's one of the three companies that package MREs for the military. So MRE, Warnick, and Sapaco are the three companies. Then they get some of their components from companies. Let's see. Usually I was looking on this peanut butter packet for the manufacturer, but oh yeah, thermo pack. So if you see, or it's got, because it's shiny, it's hard to see that, and this thing doesn't want to focus, but Thermo Pack. That's the company that packaged this peanut butter, this chunky peanut butter. See this sauce says Thermo Pack. So those are a couple of the sources for the MRE components. Sterling Foods, Janus Brothers, Bridgeford. Those are other companies that do the MRE components. Well, that's okay. You know, maybe you just have to, if they're dehydrated, heat dehydrated instead of freeze dried, that would definitely be a difference in texture. But I believe from some companies you can get freeze dried peppers. But I have a few cans of those Augustin Farms bell peppers. Thrive also does bell peppers, but they keep the green and red separate. And I believe they freeze dry them, but I would have to look. But those would best be used for mixing into other recipes like a casserole, or put it in with the scrambled eggs in an omelet, or in a soup or a stew. Oh, someone went camping? Oh, I hope you'll go camping soon. I'm just going back through the chat. Oh, that's good, Olathe. I hope you get to go. And I am hoping to go on a trip soon where I would actually be able to use those hiking poles and that water bladder that I bought. Oh, DeCarlos, if that does help with the pain, and there are people who do use it for that. Well, thanks for dropping in, Dark Matter. And hope to see some of your stuff on YouTube again. But for those that are interested in wood crafting, go back and look at his library of stuff and see how creative he can be. Oh, the pup has to go. Oh, Olathe, that would be awesome, to go camping with you. See, I have to have a driver take me out of the city because I don't drive. And city buses won't get me to where I can camp without possibly violating some law. Yep. Aletha is able to drive again, so that is good. So she does not have to rely on the hubby all the time. DeCarlos, if you just got to try it once. Maybe go with someone else your first time. And go to a state or county park that has established campgrounds. Of course, getting a reservation for a spot would be very difficult at best because people are just so full of cabin fever that they are booking well into next year for sites, and even places with cabins, like where I'll be going in August with my family. The way we have done it is we book right before we leave, but because things are so crazy with the camp reservations, one of my sisters booked for next year, not only next year, booked for next year, and we haven't even gone on our annual trip yet. In fact, she booked like 6 months ago. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. And not only are campsites going nuts, but people are going to popular hiking spots. Yeah, here in central Iowa, we have the Ledges State Park. So no doubt the trails are pretty crowded. But that would be the best thing to do if you've never been camping by yourself before. Go with someone else who's got more experience. That person can help you get a feel for how to set up your tent or whatever you're going to use as your shelter. Using a tent would be the best thing for your first time. So I've had 2 camping trips with my hand, and those have both been country prepper memorial camps this past March and then last year. So last year was my first time actually using a hammock. And so I'll get better at setting it up as I do it more. Oh, Mike's going to get some mail. So that'll be good. But if I can do this trip that I hope to soon, I'll be using my tent and we'll be hiking to the location. Of course, I will have a driver. We're supposed to get to check out the place yesterday, but the person who would drive me there was really sapped out by some allergies. She has some serious allergy issues. Environmental type allergies, not something that will be an instant reaction like, say, an insect bite or sting. There is Carla in the house. Thanks for dropping in. All I have left of this 2018 MRE is my raspberry drink. Well, I have this hot sauce, but I didn't use it. This is a packet I've never seen before. And I got a chunky peanut butter, but I didn't use it because I put the crackers underneath the pasta. And I'm not much of a gum chewer, but I do keep these. This is cinnamon gum. And these MRE gums, you can tell what flavor they are by the red on this side is the cinnamon, even though it's the same color as the peppermint gum. And then the spearmint gum is green in a totally clear wrapper. So that's how you can tell the difference between the peppermint gum, the wrapper's all clear. But the spearmint gum, it's green in an all clear wrapper. So that's how you tell the difference between the MRE gums. Yeah, I'm not surprised at that, Wyoming, because people just want to get out. And I am one of them, but where I want to go, I can't get to by myself. There is one place that I want to take a wander here in the city, but there's construction that blocks part of that path, so I don't know what is opened up yet and what's not. I know one spot down by the river, where the 4 bridges are, that part has a blockage because they're rebuilding one of the bridges, and then after that one is done, then a third of these 4 bridges that are next to each other will get knocked down and rebuilt. And so that'll happen in the fall of this year. So the one bridge that they're working on, once they open that one back up to traffic, then they'll close off the third one in this set of 4 in the downtown area. Then they'll close that off, so they'll tear it down and rebuild it, and then it'll get repeated again with the 4th bridge in this set of bridges that go across the river in the downtown area of Des Moines. In fact, it was these same bridges back in '93. 1 hour after I crossed one of those bridges with one of my sisters, because I evacuated my apartment where I was living at the time. And so an hour after we crossed that bridge, it was underwater. So I stayed with her for 2 weeks, babysat her then 6-month-old son while she worked at her warehouse cleaning up the flood mess. Now, one of my sisters has the air fryer. They don't have the Instapot. They have the air fryer. And the last time I was over there for Mother's Day, they used some of that for some of the food that we had, while the rest was just heated up in another pot on the stove or in the oven. And we had roast beef and a seafood boil. that was picked up from a restaurant called the Laughing Crab. And that seafood is pretty darn good. I would definitely get it again because they do some stuff that is kind of unusual. Yeah, there are some electric pressure cookers or electric canners. Bison in a broth, that sounds pretty good. Is it just the bison or meat alone, or would it be mixed with another meat like a pork in order to add fat? Yeah, it's either Johnsonville or the Great Value Walmart brand. I've only had those meats that would have been offered up by people at the Iowa State Fair when I go into one of the buildings where all the fruits and vegetables are judged. You go up into the upper floor and they have some of the meat vendors. They have some others things up there, but some of them would have ostrich meat products. They would have the buffalo, or they would have venison or something like that, or elk. Yeah, Trader Joe's is not conveniently located for me, so I don't go there. Yeah, I had ostrich in a French RCIR from 2015, and that one has got to be the best ration I've ever had. I have not looked at Trader Joe's online, but you might be able, if you can order off of that, maybe it can be shipped, depending on what you get. Forbes sounds like a local butcher instead of a chain place. Yeah, I've heard of BJ's, but we don't have BJ's here in Iowa. The only way I know about BJ's is when I used to work at MCO Door Company in the customer service area. We would do searches by zip code for stores in their area that would sell the doors. And so that's how I know of BJ's. Yeah, some of my meats I get from Hillel Groceries. So I can get lamb, I can get chunk lamb, I can get ground lamb. The goat meat is just chunk goat meat. I can get, that's on the bone. I can get beef on the bone, or I can get ground beef, or like diced beef. Yeah, I can get chicken stew meat. Now, they do sell some fish there. All of that is most of the meats are usually frozen, and some of the meat that they do sell in bulk, it comes from local farms, and it's hand slaughtered and hand cut. So someone will go out to the farm that Hillel works with. They select the animal, they slaughter it on site, and then hand butcher it into the particular size pieces that's needed. Yeah, there's a company called Godshall's that makes beef bacon. Minimar, which is a company that's based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, does beef bacon. There is another one called Dean Halal. So if you go to any store that caters to Muslims or Jews, you might be able to find it there if you have one in there in your area. I have actually gotten Hormel beef bacon, but that's hard to find. I don't even know if they do that anymore. But one time I did. But the store that I requested it from, they have to order a minimum number of packages in order to get it. If a supplier will even offer it up in a small quantity. But I bought, I think, 2 packages, or maybe 3, and then they would just sell the rest, put the packages out in their meat cases so anyone else can buy it. So I have had the Hormel beef bacon. But so far, my favorites are the Minimar and the Godshall's. The Dean Halal is pretty good, but I think I like the Minimar better. Oh, it is good. It looks just like pork bacon, except it's darker in color. But it cooks up just like pork bacon. And it's, out of all the brands that I've tried it, it's like hickory smoked. But my mom likes it, but it's not offered where my sisters go to do her shopping for her. Yeah, my sisters do my mom's shopping for her because she doesn't drive, and it's hard for her to walk a long distance or up the steep hill that goes from her apartment building up to the edge of the property up by the street. Yeah, Keystone Meats, the canned meats, they have a 5-year printed life, best buy date on the can. Keystone does pork, chicken, the roast beef or ground beef. They do both of those, and they do turkey. But the turkey cans are smaller than the pork, beef, and chicken cans, but I gotten those off Amazon. But the chicken and the beef cans, I have seen those at Walmart. See, I'm going to check the chat. If you're referring to Canadian prepper, See, Alaska Prepper has mentioned Keystone. He has bought it himself. See, there are other YouTubers that have mentioned the Keystone meats. And so far, they have the longest shelf life. I have some corned beef cans that have a 5-year best by date. So those are good to have as well, if you like that canned corned beef. I have never heard of Wolf Pit. But there are quite a few channels that mention the Keystone meat. So if you want to stock up on a meat that has a decent shelf life, I would get the Keystones. Reubens in their correct form are no-go for me, because I'll just say that sauerkraut and I do not get along, so I have not eaten that in a long time. I'll eat kimchi cabbage, but the sauerkraut, no, I can't do that. So I have to have a krautless Reuben. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm really not. I mean, I've eaten processed foods, and but since I have not been eating my Friday lunches at the mosque, because we have not done that for since early March of last year was the last time I had a meal at the mosque, because we used to serve lunch after the Friday prayer, and I was helping to prepare it, and at one time I was the one doing it all by myself. I took over for another woman who just abruptly quit, and I got tired of waiting. So, heck with this, these guys are going to get their lunch and I'm going to do it. So I did. First time I didn't quite get it right, but I just kept doing it. Sauerkraut. So, yep. It's German origin. Now, Carla, you had it right. Yep, I can spell it, but I can't eat it. So I leave that to others. I'm just really sucking down this raspberry. Oh yeah, the native indigenous people would use different methods to preserve the fresh foods for long-term storage to get through the winters. And fermenting is one way, salt curing, air curing, making jerkies, dehydrating. Or pickling, No Harvest Right freeze dryers back then. No Nesco dehydrators back then. Oh, yes. At one group camp, we had venison tacos on the fry bread. And the fry bread was done in a cast iron Dutch oven. Oh man, was that good. Well, I love pickled beets. I just don't have very many cans of them or jars, but I think my next shopping trip, I'm going to look for pickled beets because I think I may only have one can somewhere in my stacks of canned food. Yep. I'll eat kimchi. I'll eat other pickled vegetables. Aside from pickled cucumbers. You've seen me use those Chinese pickled vegetables that probably enough to make maybe 2 tablespoons worth. You've seen me do stuff with that, and I still have 4 of those left. Each one is a different vegetable. Pickled okra. Okra is popular in the South. But I do like okra. I just don't eat it a lot. I'm not experienced in actually cooking it myself. But my favorite way to eat it is deep fried. That's the worst way to have it as far as, being deep fried, battered and deep fried, but that's my favorite way to eat it. But if it's in a gumbo or jambalaya, I'll eat it that way too. Well, it is a totally different experience with okra. Inside it is something that it would have the consistency of, say, like aloe vera gel. And for some people, that texture alone is enough to send them packing. Well, that's pretty much, it's a kind of a slimy texture. If you put it in a soup or a stew or something like jambalaya or gumbo or a vegetable soup, that stuff will dissipate and just blend with the rest of the ingredients. But when you cut it open, it's like a pod. It looks sort of like a chili, and you see some bits on the inside of it. That's all perfectly edible. Because I'm doing this on my phone, I wouldn't be able to just bring up a picture. That stuff inside the okra acts like a thickener. So you can use it as a thickener if you want to make something that's a little thicker instead of a real runny soup. maybe I can do it this way. I'm going to try something. Hopefully this will work. Okay, that is what the raw okra looks like. I think my phone that I'm streaming on just tried to take a picture of it. So sorry about that flash. That actually pulled up Amazon, but I did that for the picture. So this is the okra plant with the pods on it. And this is a cross section of the okra. That's what it looks like in its whole form before it's cut or cooked. So hopefully that helped. Yeah, if it's not known in your area or you can't get it fresh, you can get it frozen, either whole or already cut up. So Wyoming, I hope that did help me showing you those pictures. So that's the best way that I could do it, since, you know, I'm streaming on my phone and I don't have a working computer that I could really get, you know, I could show some probably bigger pictures, but what I did works. Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and cut this off soon, since I've already finished all my food. Yeah, as you can tell, normally I close the stream and I still have some of my drinks left, but I sucked them all dry. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one good, since a few others are having to leave. But again, I do want to thank you all for coming in, and especially those who dropped in for the first time. And next week, I will be pulling out a meal cold weather. That's an Oriental chicken with rice. And that is a Mountain House freeze-dried main that will come out of there. So I'm looking forward to trying that one. So that will come up next week in 7 o'clock Central, 8 Eastern, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock Left Coast. 4 o'clock Alaska. I don't know what it is for Hawaii, like I said earlier, but so I do hope you come back again. And if you miss it, that's okay, because you can always catch it on the replay, and YouTube always takes hours and hours to process my streams, where others can be viewed almost immediately after the host cuts it off. But anyway, again, thanks for coming, and catch you on the flip side.